Good afternoon. Welcome to another fairly rare afternoon session of the online class that I'm teaching on how to survive as a conservative in today's messed up America. You can call me Professor 219. You do not need to know my real name. The previous class session that I recorded was posted about 4 o'clock this morning, sometime between 7:13 and 11:41. YouTube took it down, claimed that it violated their community standards. Okay, I presented easily verified facts, mathematical facts, plus what I felt was a plausible hypothesis to explain all those facts. I'm going to stay away from hypotheses this time. I'm just going to stick with the easily verified facts reported by the Centers for Disease Control and by the mainstream media. CDC runs an online database called VAERS, Vaccine Adverse Effects Reporting System. Look it up for yourself using any search engine you choose. It's easy to use. Just, click on the buttons in the proper sequence. Okay? I've been tracking the adverse effects associated with the COVID vaccines for several weeks. They're going up. Now, that's normal, but they're going up at an accelerating rate, and it's accelerating rapidly. We're approaching an inflection point on the curve. Now, with an asymptotic curve, we're always approaching an inflection point. What I should say to qualify and clarify that is we're getting close to the inflection point. It's going to happen sometime around the last week of August or September. The question is whether it's going to start going straight up or almost straight up, or whether it's going to level off. The numbers that I'm seeing are very disturbing. And, those of you who know me really well know that I don't get rattled very easily. This is getting me a little rattled. You also know that I'm a conservative Christian. I do not live in fear. I live in faith. I believe that God has a plan for us all, and I trust that plan. But I'm concerned that we may be facing some very difficult times ahead. For the record, I think the future for all these social media like YouTube and Facebook, the best possible scenario is public utilities owned by the government. The government has the resources to just step in and buy out people like Mark Zuckerberg and run them as public utilities so that opinions and observations like mine will have First Amendment protections rather than just being arbitrarily shut down by some corporate censor. Most of our leaders are spineless in both parties. They're only interested in raising enough money for their next election. They're not really paying attention to this. They dismiss it as conspiracy theories. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I am by nature very skeptical about things I see and hear. Hypotheses and theories, I want to see the evidence. Well, I've seen the evidence. It's published by the Centers for Disease Control. Okay? The two most intensely vaccinated profession groups in the world are airline pilots and airline crews and healthcare professionals, doctors, nurses, x-ray technicians, okay? For the healthcare professions, it's well over 90%. For air crew, it's around 85%. British Airways, which is not the largest airline in the world, has had 4 pilots drop dead in a week. Statistically, the odds against that are about 1,000,000 to 1. United, which is one of the largest airlines in the world, has had 6% of its pilots either dead or very sick. They're not disclosing why for either British Airways or United. United has canceled hundreds of flights as a result. I keep saying this, I'm not going to say coincidences don't happen. They do happen, but I don't trust them. Imagine the devastation if large percentages of air crew and healthcare providers, healthcare workers become dead or sick to the point that they're debilitated. Imagine the repercussions for our society. Now I'm going to lay something else on you that once again is a very, very easily verified fact. Look on the website of the World Intellectual Property Organization. This is a worldwide patenting and trademarking organization established by international treaty. There's a patent application numbered WO 2020 060606. Notice that number. 666. Notice the identity of the applicant. Microsoft, okay. Notice the date of publication. March 26th, 2020. That patent application talks about awarding cryptocurrency for changes or improvements in body functions that are recorded and transmitted by a device. One of the many things that I've done professionally in my career is learning a lot about the patent application process and the terminology that gets used. The word device is an extremely broad term. It could mean just about anything that's manufactured, including nanoparticles. Now, I suspect that the cryptocurrency facet of that invention is a cover. Much like an Italian sandwich shop being used as a cover for mafia extortion campaigns. Okay? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Things like 9/11, those are substantially or almost 100% certain to be exactly as they were reported by the media. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I'm a skeptic. And I've seen enough evidence to overcome my skepticism to a substantial degree. This is very worrisome to me. On a more upbeat note, this morning it was announced that the Supreme Court, by a 6-3 decision, has upheld Arizona's new voting laws. Perhaps in the future we can have secure elections. The Democratic attempt to eradicate a state level election law with a blanket federal law that forbids the requirement of voter ID by any state needs to be defeated. It needs to be defeated soundly and with finality. There have been some other Supreme Court decisions that have been very refreshing and encouraging, such as the decision in Fulton versus City of Philadelphia. Okay. Catholic Social Services was one of over 20 agencies that were placing foster children and adoptions for the City of Philadelphia under contract. The City of Philadelphia says, as Catholic Social Services, you have to stop discriminating against gay couples, or we're going to cancel your contract. In order to get in a unanimous decision, Chief Justice Roberts made it a very narrow decision that focused on an exemption clause in the contract, meaning that the city had discretion to create an exemption for the agency and allow it to discriminate based on their religious convictions. Catholic Social Services believes that by granting foster parent status or adoption status to a couple, they were endorsing that couple. Gay rights organizations are rejoicing at the narrow nature, or apparently narrow nature, of this decision, seeing that it relies on the exemption clause in the contract. Well, guess what? These exemption clauses are boilerplate. They're standard operating procedure for municipal contracts. You'll find them in municipal contracts in all 50 states, just about every municipality, every county government, every state government. So, it's not as narrow as the gay rights advocates would like you to believe. It's another major victory. Major victories are coming in the areas of abortion and gun rights. Gun rights. Oh my God.